the emphasis on ethics and thinking through ethics and what people do to one another and the analysis of what happens when things go wrong, sometimes liberals have observations about the way we treat one another that we actually do need to stop and take seriously. There's a difference between analyzing the nature of the problem and dealing with the solution that's proposed to fix it. And what we're seeing, I think, what we oftentimes see out of liberal theology is there's an analysis of the problem and the dynamics and why we are where we are that's actually oftentimes has many elements that are on target. But it's the solution that's the problem, because they don't turn to God necessarily to do it. They say this is something we have to fix ourselves. It's often put in a power or clash environment in which the very divisions that have created the problem remain even in the way the solution is pursued and talked about, rather than moving towards the reconciliation that God tries to bring into the picture so that we make an effort to actually understand one another and do better and be more sensitive to one another, which I think grows out of the gospel message. I like to point out that in the first century, Jews and Gentiles did not get along. They were very estranged people. God came along and said, because I have forgiven you, I'm going to take Jews and Gentiles who are estranged from one another, I'm going to make them family. And God adopted all of us. And then the question becomes, have we adopted one another as a result in the body of Christ to show what it is that God has done for each of us? If we go there, we're not in a power dynamic where we're banging against one another. We're actually working together. We're not in an environment where we say this is a zero-sum game in which the only way I gain is if my tribe gains and your tribe loses. No, this is something where we work together because God has brought us together. And in that becomes the potential not just for reconciliation, but for shalom, for peace. And ultimately, that's where the gospel story is designed to take us. Not only to reconnect us to the living God, but to reconnect us in a healthy way to one another.